So in this video I'm going to talk to you about my use of the Farmertec MS660. I recently completed the build of the MS660 from Farmertec, and this video will actually show you me putting it to use and some of the issues I've had with it and some of the things I've had to change. So there's lots of videos out there that show you how to build the MS660, and lots of those YouTube clips will actually show you step by step how to build it. What you've got here is me at the end of the build and just wanting to hear the first fire. There we go, it's fired up. It won't go any more than that. So I set the saw up with one of my old 18-inch bars whilst I was waiting for a new 24-inch bar to arrive. Just put in the first tank of fuel. I put slightly more oil in than I would normally, and it's time to fire it up for the very first time. It takes a few pulls to get it started, but then it fires up and everything sounds like it's running really well until So it was sounding pretty good as I was revving it up then, until it just stopped. Now I was totally confused as to what the issue was when you pulled the pull cord, the pull start. Basically it was just spinning with no pressure. I thought it was something serious inside the engine. As it was when I took it home, and it was really simple. It was actually the woodruff key holds the flywheel on. Woodruff key had actually sheared. I think that's because I actually didn't tighten the nut up tight enough. So I got another woodruff key, fitted that, and I've never had another problem since. So here I'm using it, I've been using it for quite a few weeks, and here I'm just going through a wood pile. It's got a 24-inch bar on it, and as you see it actually operates really well, but towards the end of this you actually start to see an issue which has occurred. you'll see a log roll onto the saw in a minute, and that as it rolls onto the saw you get a distinct change in the engine noise. I'll later find out that that is caused by because the exhaust manifold is actually loose, and as that log fell on, it actually pushed the exhaust back into place and resealed it. So that loose exhaust is also the reason why the engine at idle is revving so high. Didn't really notice it at the time, but you can notice it more now as you're watching the video. The issue, as I found out when I got the saw home and took the exhaust manifold off, was the fact that the gasket, part of the gasket behind the exhaust manifold had actually failed and fell away. And that, I think, was allowing the air mixture to be all messed up and the compression ratios in the engine. Once I resealed that, the saw was back to normal. The MS660 is now my go-to saw. I like the unstoppable power and grunt of the machine. It's so much better than the MS362, which was previously my largest saw. Now, I've had a few issues with the saw since I've built it. As I showed earlier on in the video, I had an issue there with a woodruff key, but that was mostly my fault. I've also had an issue with the chain tensioner, which which didn't last very long at all. I ended up swapping that out for a Stihl chain tensioner. I've also had an issue with the gasket for the cylinder head through to the body. Again, it was like a paper gasket, and that didn't last long at all. It actually blew out off, or a piece of it blew out and ended up with the cylinder becoming loose, which again, I replaced that with one of the Stihl original gaskets. And then the issue that I've just been talking about on this video with the gasket coming loose behind the exhaust manifold. The final thing that is a little bit annoying is the actual pull start. Doesn't often return, and I need to sort of give that a tap to get the spring to work. But I'm hoping that's something that I can just take apart and adjust. But overall, I'm really impressed with the MS660 from Farmertec.